French loud.
So you are correct. We are, if it gets approved tonight, the white Tahoe is being replaced.
Nothing is getting approved tonight.
Oh, no, that was the discussion in your email. So
Nothing is being approved because I don't have free cash.
the white Tahoe
Is getting,
would be getting nixed. And normally we would take the radio
So
out of
anybody
that
that comes up to
vehicle
talk has to
and put it into the new vehicle. But that vehicle's radio is
right, but you already
not,
had a radio in there, so you shouldn't need two radios.
that radio
You only
in,
need one, right?
that radio in that vehicle is not a digital radio.
Right, but you're gonna ixnay that vehicle and get a new vehicle, so that vehicle will need one radio.
Each vehicle gets two radios. That vehicle doesn't have a radio.
You sound very bougie right now, okay? I don't think you need two radios in a vehicle.
Sir, how are you?
Cut off.
I missed you last night at the
And you made it up and got sworn in.
Paragus.
Yes.
The cook-off thing? I was working last night.
Oh, what a great night.
Do we have a new sign?
I don't yet.
Oh yeah. Your district too.
F5 responded this morning, that morning.
Jeez, that was brutal. I got a call, asked if I knew the individual, and I was like, well, I don't know people by name, and then I saw their face, and I was like, oh yeah. Yeah,
So I did not hear from either Kristen.
Kristen just texted or emailed me and said she couldn't get into my link.
That was sad.
All right, so she's gonna do,
Hopefully she's coming on Zoom. I sent her my calendar invite, told her to tell me if it doesn't work.
and Jamie.
I haven't heard from Jamie, but I think I have to let her in, so see if she comes up.
And I don't believe the minutes were done yet, right? And I didn't see them in the folder.
Sue's still not back. Sue's still down at sewer.
Oh,
I have a cup. I might have sent you a couple, like the small meetings that were like really short.
yeah.
I think I did, and I might have sent them to you and Kristen, but I don't think I heard back.
But I didn't see any minutes in
No, they're
the
not in the
folder, so
folder.
we're just gonna skip over them.
Do you want to? I'll look to see the ones that I did I did a couple short ones.
Not right.
No, not now, but I'll send them to you again if you want to just review them, and then we can do them next meeting.
Yep.
And then Sue's gonna have a rude awakening when she comes back. Or Sue. But yeah, she's been down at sewer since like February.
Okay. Oh, that'd be good.
We can't hire anybody down there. Hopefully, the light is at the end of the tunnel.
Really?
Yeah. So we offered it.
now, right?
Well, no, they need an admin down there too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They have no one down there right now.
That's right.
You did for like what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, at 3. I think it was 4 or 5.
Oh,
and then
4 or
she
5
quit.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hire a superintendent down there. Can't hire an admin.
Or my kitchen coordinator, I get the same issue.
Yeah, no one wants to work.
No.
She hasn't answered me back, so I don't see her in there yet.
Yep, no, I don't see her either. But you know what? It's 6:30.
You
We've
have
got
quorum, so.
So I'll open the meeting at 6:31.
Recording in progress.
All right, first item on the agenda that I'm going to put is I'm going to welcome our newest member, Alicia. Disick? Deek.
Jeek with a J.
Jeek.
Yeah, looks nothing like it sounds.
It doesn't. It doesn't. That's why I asked. Okay. Alicia works at Webster First Federal.
Yep.
Been the VP up there for how many
20 years.
20 years.
Couple of them.
So she's got a good financial background. I think she will make an excellent addition to our committee.
Thank you.
Conservation Board meeting that way?
It's gonna be in the meeting room, but they don't start till 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meeting room.
In the
Thing
meeting
I
room, yeah,
asked.
the main room in the front.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so the first thing we'll go over is we've actually got 2 calendars in front of us to go over. One is the calendar that the Board of Selectmen adopted a couple of weeks ago and is specifically for the fall town meeting. When warrants open, when it closes. Tonight we're on that Wednesday, August 9th, where we're going to review the draft of the capital meeting. Right? And then the second schedule, I tried to update it a little bit to coordinate with this. It's our meeting schedule, right? So
That's not in your packets.
it's not in your packet, but does Alicia have the?
Dropbox. Not yet, no.
No, but
Oh.
I was waiting for her to get an email.
Town email. Have you talked to Jeff yet?
I have a town email from when I was on planning board. I don't know if it died.
Probably.
Okay. No, I have not talked to anybody.
Okay.
So what
He's
I'll
off
send
tomorrow,
you is
how do we-
everything we accumulate, we put into a Dropbox folder.
Nice.
okay? So that
That's
easy
helpful.
access, yes, it's easy access. So this is in there, okay? So our next meeting is going to be September 16th. We'll go through the warrant articles and we'll do our approvals as we always do. All right, that's our calendar for the coming. And we're gonna put you first on the agenda
Really?
next. Yes, so that you don't
Get
have
outta
to
here.
stick around for the whole thing, okay?
Kristen, can you hear us? Because that mic's only on my
Yeah,
laptop.
I just can't see you, but I can hear you.
Okay. If I turn the camera on, it's just gonna be me. I don't have the big one set up.
Oh, that's right. that's
Okay.
right.
Because
We
we're
don't-
not in
we
the
don't
other
have
room,
the,
yeah. I could have set that camera up, but it's kind of
Okay.
a pain.
No, I can hear you good.
Okay. Oh, actually, hang on, let me share this too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it, hold on. Okay.
All right, so Pat, introduce yourself to the committee.
Okay, I'm Pat Stockwell, and I'm the chair of the Senior Community Center Feasibility Committee. So I'm here to talk about the possibility of a new center. Just to start off, I wanted to take a look back in time, and if you look at the 2008 master plan, they were talking about this project way back then. It's in the master plan. Also, I have a quote here from April 2022 from the Charlton Villager, which was back when they tried to do a citizen's petition, and the person that did it was mentioning how they had been looking for a center all the way back to '93. It was, it was already having issues back then. So 2022 was when I got involved with it. So I've actually been working on this for 4 years now. Next page, yep, a little bit of the history. The feasibility committee was created in July of 2022 by the select board with the charge of developing a plan for a new senior community center. We looked at various properties with the decision to put out an RFP for a tear down and new build at the Arts and Activities Center. That was followed by several interviews that we did of architectural firms in April of 2023. I got there were like 8 of them that we did. And we chose T2 Architecture. While they were working on that, we did various site visits. We went to a lot of the municipal buildings that T2 had built and done, other senior centers and whatnot, elementary schools. And then we got the final report in April of 2024. And the price that came back was $21.8 million to build the new center over there. So the feasibility committee said, not feasible, basically. Then during 2025, we looked at a commercial property over at Trolley Crossing. We toured it, we researched it. We even got to the point where we drew up a sketch for a possible floor plan in that building. And unfortunately, the owners, it was a commercial property, so unfortunately the owners didn't want to wait for a municipal timeline to do something like that, to wait for town meeting and an election. So then we moved on. In mid-2025, we got back to the furniture store property. We toured it and we decided that we wanted to pursue it. And we acquired the feasibility funds at the fall special town meeting. Lero Hill was chosen by the town administrator to do a feasibility plan with options for both the Dresser Hill property and town hall, an addition and renovation of the town hall. So just a bit of the demographics. First of all, our population presently is 13,737 people total. And if you look at the top chart, in 1996 we had 1,200 seniors. By 2008, 2,051, 71% increase. And by 2026, we have 3,960 seniors in town. That was a 93%, almost 100% increase during that time period. Then we have a breakdown by age brackets, and actually seniors are technically considered to be 60 and over. But I wanted to keep the 55 and over on here because that's showing me that there's another 1,100 people coming up fast in the next 5 years. So that number is going to go over 30% of the total population pretty quick. And these numbers came from Central Mass Regional Planning Commission and UMass Boston Center for Social and Demographic Research on Aging. Also, the COA or the senior center staff keep track of people that use the center for whatever reason. So people like to say, well, there's not that many people down there. Well, that may be true, but they do different things all the time. And people go to different events. It's not just, the people that go all the time, every day. They also use it for other services, depending on what kind of issues they might have or whatnot. So a lot of people, it's actually 1,150 people that use it, according to the records that they have. So it's quite a few.
Excuse me, Pat, by the way, I neglected to introduce the director of the senior center, Michelle, sitting right behind Brian. I'm sorry.
Hi. Thank you. Becky is a council member. And Becky's
Just to tack on.
spouse. Arm candy.
Okay, so why do we need a new center? Well, anybody that's been down there, we know that the current center is inadequate. We're unable to fully accommodate walkers and wheelchairs. It's tenuously compliant with ADA. If you have been down there, you see that there's ramps and stairs everywhere, and you have to go up a ramp or upstairs to be able to get to the bathrooms, and that door isn't even automatic. So people can struggle getting through there and getting to those bathrooms. You can't park more than 13 cars, and there's only 5 handicap spots. And people have literally said that they would like to come to some of the events, but they're not going to fight the parking. They're not going to fight to try and find a parking space to get in there. They're unable to hold concurrent programs. It's actually less than a quarter the size of the recommended state guidelines. Those guidelines are 5 to 6 square feet per senior, so that would be, say you take 5.5 square feet times 3,960. I'm talking about a space that would be 21,780 square feet. So even this project is not going to come close to that, but it is going to potentially double the space that they have. We presently can't offer privacy for anything, really. A town nurse, taxes, Medicare, whatever. Even the next one, private consultation with staff. So if the staff had to meet with, say, a senior's family or outside consultants or whatever, there's no conference room, there's no privacy. There's not even a space really that's big enough to do it. Because they have privacy in their office, kind of, because people walk by there all the time and just interrupt when you're in there having a meeting. So there's really no place that they can do that. They're also unable to offer a scope of classes and activities for various capabilities because you have young seniors now that can do very different things from older seniors or possibly disabled seniors. And with what we have, they can't really do everything that they possibly could for these people. We also can't offer most outdoor activities. Once in a while they go out on the town common or they risk life and limb crossing Main Street to go behind the activity center. This one kind of really gets me, that there's no office for the activities assistant. She basically has a desk thrown in a storage room. There's a bunch of food and some tables, and there's her desk thrown in there where she has to work. They also are not able to properly store and secure food and medical equipment. So, it's left out in the open where people can lift it. And the medical equipment is in a room that's behind the ladies' room. And it's really scary in there. Like, really scary.
The dungeon.
Yeah, it's like the dungeon.
Call it the dungeon.
And if you need something that's in there, and obviously if the ladies' room is being used, you can't get it. you have to wait. So, and then lastly, another important one is that the municipal offices, in here, the town needs space. They've needed space for a long time, and that's an issue. And so they'll get that if we go to the Dressel Hill property, because that would open up all that space to be able to put more offices in there. The next one is the senior center mission. I don't know if you want me to read that or not. I think everybody kind of knows what the senior center does. It's good stuff. And then the next one, a taste of what they do and when they do it. So it's open Monday through Thursday with activities scheduled every day. The meal program is obviously an important piece of it because they serve seniors lunch at a reasonable cost, or minimum cost, really. And for some people, that's the only meal that they get. So that's a big deal. They have weekly movement activities, fitness, floor yoga, etc. lots of information sessions, lectures, entertainment, workshops, you know, and those kinds of things actually are good for everybody. I mean, the cybersecurity stuff, the scam alerts, when the police chief or the fire chief come down and do their little information things, you know, that's useful information for anybody. They also offer social games such as Cribbage, Billiards, Mahjong, and Bingo. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't say, you know, special thank you to the Charlton Library, which lets us expand and do events over there. And, you know, it's a great thing. It's the jewel of Charlton, really, at this point. All right, we did some surveys. We sent out 2,500 surveys to every senior household, and we also did an online one that's actually going on now, on a Survey Hero online, and that's mostly for the rest of the people, you know, the community at large. But the seniors, for the seniors, we got over 125 people. I don't know exactly what the number is now from when I did this, but we got the 125 back. And as you can see, seeing their friends is their number one thing. And it's been proven in studies that seniors that socialize more have a higher quality of life. You know, they live longer, they're happier. So that's a good thing, definitely. As far as the community center is concerned, like I said, they currently utilize the library, the Arts and Activities Center, and the Grange when it's appropriate and available. And available is a biggie because the library is just booked all the time. It's very, very difficult to get space over there now. And the committee had determined from the feedback that we've been getting that the town could benefit from space earmarked for the purpose of community events as well. So, this is the senior community center proposal. It's a proposal to purchase and renovate the existing Charlton Furniture building in town and to provide our seniors with a new, safe, accessible, modern, and efficient building to provide them with the best senior programs we can offer. And in addition, it would offer an opportunity to expand offerings to the greater community after hours and on weekends. You know, should we so decide we want to do that. So that's an advantage. Project planning, after really an overwhelming vote of support for the feasibility funds at the fall special town meeting, Charlton engaged Lero Hill to perform a study for the Council on Aging. The senior center is currently located in the lower level of the town hall. We all know that. It's approximately 4,400 square feet. The town requested an evaluation of whether the senior center can be accommodated within the town hall long term, or whether relocation to an alternate facility would be better to meet the current and future program needs. As part of this effort, the committee identified 107 Dressing Hill Road as an alternate location and sought to understand the base building upgrades, code implications, and spatial feasibility required to convert that facility for senior center use. This study built upon prior feasibility work completed in 2024. That was the T2 report that we got, and reviewed a side-by-side comparison of options with a potential town hall addition and renovation. The committee agrees with Lero Hill. I actually sent that out to everybody. Hopefully everybody got the Lero Hill report. Plus some other info that I sent out, frequently asked questions, some general information that we're trying to build a website that's informational for everybody in town, really. So we agree with the Lero Hill recommendation that the Dressing Hill property is the best solution. And then this is straight out of the report. It's just a view of the property. If you look to the right, well, Dressing Hill Road is at the top. And to the right, where that parking is where there's a white building. It kind of looks like a house, if you've been up there and have seen it. And it's really not salvageable. So they recommended that it be torn down. And then that gives us a lot more space over there to add parking. There's some green space out there. You know, potentially we can put a patio and maybe a screen porch. So there'll be a lot more for people to do outdoor activities. The little blue jut you see off to the right there, that would be a portico, so people can drive in and in bad weather be able to get in and out of their cars and in and out of the center without being out in the weather. So, and then there's a little bit of a bump out, that rectangle at the bottom. That's like a bump out of extra space that they need for like mechanical, you know, heating, cooling, whatever. And this is another one right out of the report. This is a floor plan. So as I said, you're getting, just in program area alone, you're getting twice, a little more than twice the space that you would have downstairs now. And total building space is between 13.5 and 14,000 square feet. So this isn't showing like the portico or anything like that. But the right and left at the bottom there, those are the vestibules where people would come in and out. And I mean, you can look in the Whirl report and get all the gory details about all the space and what they're proposing that we put in it, because it really covers everything. The next one is straight out of the Whirl report as well. It's a comparative overview of the two properties. So they used as evaluation criteria program fit, accessibility, site functionality, operational efficiency, future flexibility, and estimated construction cost. And basically, if you read through these things, you'll see that the Dresser Hill property meets everything. Right? It meets all the criteria, all the needs of what we would want. And the town hall doesn't. There's a lot of drawbacks. You still have all the issues with parking. The floor plan is interesting to say the least. You know, it's like things don't flow correctly in there. The main door would be in the back, but the welcome area and the offices would be in front. And no matter where you go to go in or out of the building, you'd have to go upstairs or ramps or elevators. So, not a great option. These are just some estimates that we had done, that the purchase of the building would be about $2 million, the renovation would be about $12 million, and for a total of $14 million. With an annual debt service, I think I actually did this actually. With an annual debt service of a little over $1 million, and the average tax increase of $251 per taxpayer per year, obviously. And then this one, we're calling it potential cost reduction. So the recent quote that we got from the owner is 1.8, so that's $200K less than the $2 million. The Lero renovation estimate is actually 11.6, so that's $400K less for a total of 12.5, which is obviously $600K less. And this next piece, the HVAC and electric comes to about for the Dresser Hill property comes to about 1.6 to put that in there. And I'm on a committee called the Citizens Advisory Committee of the BEST, the new facility that is trying to go in on Capitol Hill. And our purview, if you will, is to try and come up with benefits that Charlton can get. So they want to come in here, what can we give Charlton so you'll like us? So we want to try and get whatever we can. So it's been discussed of potentially doing this. So this doesn't mean it will happen, but potentially that we could get a solar BESS system in that building, which would cut that cost off the top if we did that, if they paid for it. And then the second one is a pilot, which is basically once you get in a deal with them, instead of taxes, it's a payment in lieu of taxes, and we're estimating roughly $2 million a year that we could get from them, because Carver did one and they got like $1.6 million, and they had the same size. It's a 150 megawatt facility that's going in there, and that's what they're planning for Capitol Hill. Medway actually got $2.6 million, but theirs is bigger. It's like a 200. When I say bigger, it's bigger in wattage. It's like 250 megawatt, but the footprint is probably identical. They're putting in. And then lastly, we created a new, or not me, but people on the committee created a new Friends group to the senior center. And it's an official 501c3. So they've already started doing fundraisers, and now they'll be eligible, because they are a 501c3, they'll be eligible to get grants as well. So they are working on that to try and raise money for whatever that they can do for this center to cut back on costs. Okay, this is estimated operating costs. I mean, you can see what it is. Facilities maintenance, 50, adding support staff, 50, 60K in benefits, supplies, 10,000. The utilities, again, if we could get the best system in there, that would actually be less, maybe zero, potentially, because if you use the solar and you have a battery backup, you shouldn't have to pay for anything. So, which would add about $185,000 per year operational costs. This came from our surveys. Two questions that we had on both of the surveys. Would you support a senior center if it required no new taxes? And would you support a senior center if it required a small increase? And, you know, we've gotten more back from the seniors, so you can see the numbers there. That, you know, it's much more people say yes, we would accept it either way, whether it was no tax increase or whether there was a tax increase. And it's by a lot. 93% are in favor. If there isn't one, 81% are in favor if there is a tax increase. And then down below, from the community, we haven't gotten as many back yet because we just started getting results back last week, but it's trending the same way. 80% in favor, with no increase, 88% in favor with no increase and 80% with a tax increase, a small tax increase. And then this is just a page of supplemental info. Supplemental info. So, like I said, some of it I sent to you, the Little Hill report, the fact. I'm working on a website with Andrew. We've got some of that done, so that'll be available soon. The survey results, if people want to see it, you know, I can give you access and you can see, because people put a lot of comments in addition to answering our questions, so there's a lot of good info in there too. And also the best, if you want to go and see what ESA is trying to do up on Carpenter Hill, that link goes to their page. Okay. Next steps. All right, done with one.
But if you just stay on that for a second, but that actually is, no, the one you had in, yeah, that is the next steps, right? Because this would require a debt exclusion.
Yes, but the debt exclusion probably wouldn't take place until May unless the board is gonna call a separate election.
Right, well, I wasn't specifically
But
talking
yes,
about
you're gonna
timing,
need,
but this
you're
is
gonna
the
need,
step.
you're gonna need a project on the town meeting warrant, so for total project cost on the town meeting warrant, and then you're gonna have to go to an exclusion vote or vice versa
Right.
to get it debt excluded, yes.
Right, and that was the plan, to go to the select board and try to get it on the
Yeah.
warrant for October. And then actually, you know, we don't really have a problem whether they call the election right away or whether we have to wait till the May election, because Sue LeBlanc, who's the owner of the property, has been like great about this. You know, unlike the other owners of that other property, she's been very willing to work with us. They took it off the market to wait for the town thing to play out. Yeah, and I actually talked to her today. So, yeah, so we would be willing to wait because that gives us longer now. It's going to be a lot bigger hurdle to get past an election vote. You know, when you have whatever,
Right.
2,000 people or whatever come and vote. So that gives us more time to try and market it out to the community at that point. So yeah, that is the plan for the next steps, and then our committee, obviously, like it says, is going to try to do public outreach, and we plan an open house that's tentatively scheduled for September 20th. It's a Sunday from about 3 to 6. That would be a community event. We want anybody and everybody to come up and see the space, and you know, we're hoping to you know, have information there, maybe some kind of a monitor showing maybe this.
This is at the
Yes.
Pickle property?
Yes, at 107
September
Crest Hill.
20th, 3 to 6? you said?
That's tentative now,
Okay.
but that's what we're planning on. September 20th is a Sunday afternoon, 3 to 6. Yeah, so we hope to have a lot of information, be able to answer people's questions, let them see the space and feel for themselves. You know, even if we could do something like mark it off to show that, you know, this is where the kitchen will be, and, you know, whatever, so people can get a sense of it. And then the voters hopefully will be able to decide.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys have any more questions?
All right, questions of either Pat or Michelle, maybe on the programming side?
So, back with the Chalk Furniture Building estimates, the 12 million for the price renovation, that's including the demo of the smaller building as well?
Yes, it's all good.
As far as some of like the HVAC, electric, best pilot, like that stuff is that, it seems like there's just like a lot of open questions that maybe we need to.
And that's why it's potential. You
Yeah.
know, that is an open question. And if that were to happen, if we come to that agreement and they say, okay, we'll pay for this, and also we get the pilot money, which would help obviously to pay for debt exclusion, with the annual payments, like monthly payments, whatever it is. They're in the early phases of this, so it'll probably be a minimum, probably the fastest anything's gonna happen is 3 years. You know, it's more likely 5 years before they'd be breaking ground, so we wouldn't see anything, you know,
So
money.
the debt exclusion would be for the full, like
Yes.
that would, that's all
Yes,
just
that's
like,
the
that's
question.
all just like,
So
Yes.
hopefully, this could possibly happen, but like,
Right.
I sat in a meeting with the battery energy people, and the gist I got is the people that are here marketing it to us have to market it to somebody else as palatable. I'm not to try to like rain on your I don't see them giving us any extra, like nothing like Amazon, like where they gave us extra money to have them come in. It's gonna be like property tax. I think that they're singing a big song and dance, but I don't know if you guys got the same gist I did in that meeting, but it was basically like, well, yeah, we can tell you we're gonna try, but I don't see them giving us any extra money other than real estate and property taxes, unless for whatever reason we agree to enter into a pilot. I don't see them coming in and giving us any extra money.
Yeah, no, that's not how I understand it.
Yeah, that's the gist I got
felt
from
like
that
they were
meeting.
giving us money. They said they were looking for projects, so I thought they were giving out money, so that's why I went,
No, because I said the same.
senior center.
I said the same thing to Kathy, and Kathy's like, "Yeah, no, they don't do that." And then they said they're the ones that have to pitch it to a developer, and that developer is the one that would be paying us. So
developer.
it has to be
And that's
palatable to the,
That I
to the
understand,
developer.
yep.
And it's not going to be anything like how Amazon came in and said, "Oh, here's gifts, here's some donations," and then they, whatever, we agreed on a price for their building or whatever, had it assessed and whatnot. It's not going to be anything, I think, like that.
Yeah, and I
It
think
will be probably a substantial comparatively payment. I don't think it's going to be anything like what we think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think there are going to be extra benefits. If you go and look at the Medway plan, they actually signed the benefits agreement, and they got money like $50,000 for their food banks and money for conservation to be able to do things in the
Yeah.
town, conserve land and plant trees and various
Right.
things. So you can go and read that. That's online. You can go and look at the
I just
Medway
didn't get that
benefits plan.
same gist from when they came to present to all the department heads
There-
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, there is usually a community impact agreement,
Right.
and
And there's a
so
study
there's an
done.
associated dollar figure that they will put into their community impact agreement. That's how does this project impact the community, and then how does it correlate to a dollar amount. So in relation to the Medway agreement, they did the fire department did receive some financial benefit, $1.5 million or something for equipment and training and continuous training and stuff. Then the town of Medway got money for electric vehicles and charging stations and stuff, and they did get money for conservation land and stuff like that. So they did get that because they associated with the battery energy storage where they were disrupting a large portion of the land. So they had to then say, okay, this is going to be a community impact, so we're going to give you money into your town to because of that impact.
Right.
If they're able to tie the impact to the battery energy storage up on Carpenter Hill to the senior center, then yes, I'm sure that there could be some sort of correlation to that. But if there's no tie to that, then to your point, Ashley, it's not like the same as
Right.
Amazon where they were coming in and saying,
We got to
hey,
like pick and choose kind
right,
of where
out
we
of our
wanted.
capital
I mean,
projects.
pick and choose to a point, because obviously they still only give under certain umbrellas, like if you want to put it that way. Obviously it won't be anywhere because Amazon's size was just massive, but the gist I got was like community impact to what was impacted, if that, and then obviously that all have to get pitched to a developer. So like it was like don't count for any extra money type deal is the gist I got from that meeting. Because I looked at Kathy, my assessor, who was literally sitting right next to me, and I was like, ooh, so this means like more new growth and more that. She goes, I wouldn't count your chickens.
Yeah,
So
there's definitely some associated with it.
Right.
More
You're
for
gonna
like
get
I
real
guess for
estate stuff.
the fire department for equipment and training and stuff like that. But I don't know if you could definitely bank on what you banked on for Amazon to give the town as much.
right. You'll definitely have, if this is, so when Millennium came here, their pilot was treated differently than how like our normal real estate taxes are, and it was in a different part of our bucket of money, if you will, when we do the tax recap. This was sitting in a different bucket, and we didn't get Prop 2.5 on it because it was considered local receipts. So we only got 700,000 every year from them. So yes, it still goes into your levy and becomes money you can use to balance your budget the next year, but it doesn't increase like your taxes, like your property taxes do every year. Well, we get 2.5% plus new growth every year. This sat in a different area, so you only got their payment. So if that's how this pilot would be, you wouldn't get an increase either year over
My
year.
hope is that they were approaching this conversation with, let's be from a hard stance right now,
Right.
and then we can work on it.
Yeah,
They didn't come to the first meeting and say, hey, whatever you want, you got.
right.
Right? So it could still turn out to be some
Yeah.
benefit.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
I think it will be.
Okay.
And the point of my question is just to understand the timing and like what is the bottom line, and can we bank on that, or is that something that needs to be figured out after the
Right.
fact? And sounds
So
like
even if, like she said,
Which
even
is-
if it was a thing, it probably wouldn't be here for. You probably wouldn't see it
3 to 5
if they
years.
didn't start building for 5. Like if they didn't break ground for 5 years, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't see a payment for 7 or 8.
Yeah.
By the time it hits the tax, like hits the
Yep.
hits budget and stuff, you probably wouldn't see it for another 7 to 8 years from now. And if you're going for a debt exclusion, let's just say if you went for it in May, and you borrowed, well, you have to start borrowing to pay for the renovation. So you would see a potential of that debt to hit for your 2028 tax bill.
The Lero, the renovation estimate of 12 million, it seemed like with other projects that we've seen in the past, there's been like, I just don't know, like what went into that, and is there more that needs to be done before we can go for a debt exclusion? Is there like architectural things that need to be
I mean,
done?
you can look at the Lero reports. I don't know how many pages long it is, but it's very long. There's
Okay,
all
that's
kinds
all.
of
This
different.
is,
all.
this is the feasibility narrative for the Lero Hill
I
report. It's
just
like-
thought it was like high view. Like I don't think it's like a. Yeah,
Right,
I don't.
it
I
is.
think it's like a. They gave you like a pretty good number to go with, but I don't.
Is there anything additional
That's
that
my
needs to be
understanding
done
of
to
it, but-
solidify that number that either we could pay for in the October timeframe and actually have a better number, a more secure, more solid number for May, or anything that needs to be done up front to solidify that number is my question.
I haven't been part of the talks with Leroy, just from what I've talked to with Andrew. I mean, I would think you probably need more of like a design, with it not being our building though, I don't know how that works, but normally, I'm just thinking like fire station wise, when we did the fire station, we did a design study money first, and then we went and got construction plan docs and got that money, and then got to like, okay, this is gonna be your final number, you have the plans and everything, this is how much your project's gonna cost, and then we went for that for the exclusion. So I don't know if this is
But
right
we
down to
approved going
design.
forward First, we voted to do the fire station before we did all that.
No, I don't think so.
I thought we funded
I think we did
Like
the,
with details?
yeah.
I think we did a feasible, it's hard because we went back before we had the public safety building done, yes. And then that never passed the ballot, so we scratched that project and went just for a fire station. And went and got design money for the fire station, rescinded the public safety building, and then got the construction docs, and then went and approved a fire substation at
But I think
X dollar.
we are gonna have to raise more money to do a more detailed
I would
report.
think so.
Okay?
I just
The
don't know
the
how
number
it
one
works.
example I can think of off the top of my head that would drive a cost, okay, is that was a furniture store with a bathroom, okay, because they had a few salespeople. We're not gonna be looking at having 50 or 60 people in that building at one time. Gotta use more than one bathroom, okay? And they're all gonna be handicapped. So those are the things I think that are gonna drive.
Yeah.
The kitchen, all right? It's gotta be a commercial kitchen. Well, there's 100,000, 150
I
right
mean,
there.
It's fire suppression and all
Rough
that
plans
stuff.
are in there, you can see it all.
Yeah.
And they do the
Right,
breakdown.
Right,
of
but
the
they
cost,
have
so-
not got into the weeds.
Yeah.
I think it will probably take a little more money to get a more focused,
Right.
to be ready for that May meeting with a
Is that-
solid number.
Is that on our sewer system?
No, so I think they would need a septic, or they would need to come tie
There's a
in.
septic plan.
They talk about that.
There's a
Yeah.
septic plan.
Septic
It
and
needs to
well.
be expanded.
I don't think water goes down there either.
It doesn't.
So, and that building needs fire suppression too, so.
And again, that's all in.
That's all in here.
It's all in that report.
I mean, they've got even monies allotted for sink fixtures. I mean, they did a pretty detailed report.
Alicia's got a question.
So on that report, and I apologize, I have not had a chance to look at it at all. Do they do a projection, because I'm just noticing like facilities, maintenance and staff at 50,000. I don't think that's a reasonable number. I don't think you're gonna hire someone for a building of that size for 50,000.
Those are my numbers.
Those are Ashley's
Okay.
numbers.
That's what I think our custodians get paid at the same rate,
So, and that's fine. I guess my question is, if everything isn't happening for another 5 to 10 years, are we taking into account those projected costs as those amounts go
well,
up?
no, I think that their building would be built before
Okay.
the
Okay.
5 to 10 years was
That's a
more for the
separate
battery
issue.
energy people coming in. If they're looking for the debt exclusion, they essentially, because we're buying an already built building, your debt project would essentially start for probably right after July or whatever, so you'd see it in the next year,
Thank you.
is what I'm assuming.
And those were to give you a feel for
Yeah,
what
they're just in
the
that
operating
ballpark,
cost would
yeah.
be versus the debt or what.
And I was like, throw a dart
Creating it,
throw a
right.
dart
Right.
at the wall, and it's about what it should be.
Sure, thank you.
Close.
I think this is a reasonable proposal. I just wanna make sure the numbers are not big, so.
Yeah, from my understanding, it was like a higher view, but I haven't been part of it, just talking to Andrew.
Would
Yeah,
y'all
this-
like to
this
keep
is a
a
higher
copy
view,
of
but
this?
I think what's important too is that we have these numbers in front of us as we're looking at everything else that we've got in town, so we know this is what they would like to propose and how would that fit into an overall. I think there's the biggest value in we're getting right now. Okay. All right, if no one's got any other questions, I will thank you, Pat,
Thank
for
Thanks
coming
for your
in.
time.
And
Thank
Michelle.
you.
Yeah, Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
There's a couple newsletters if nobody's familiar with what we do. There's that too. September's hot off the press.
Chief, I'm gonna assume you're here because we're gonna be talking about the capital plan here, and you've
I'm
got
just here in
something
case you have
you
any
wanna bring up
questions.
on that?
I'm just here if you have any questions, that's all.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, everybody.
you're welcome, you're welcome to sit up here and
Okay,
join.
Okay.
yeah, I'm just here
Instead of
for,
sitting there behind Brian where I can't see you and make
Sure.
faces at you.
I'm just here in case you have questions, that's all.
All right, do you want me to start with the
Yeah, actually-
bad news or the bad? No, I'm saying the good news or the bad news. I mean, I don't know if we consider it bad news, but
All right. What's our free cash number?
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm behind. I mean, I'm not behind. I'm behind. I feel behind, but yeah, no,
Okay, so
I don't have
we
it
still
yet.
haven't heard from the state?
No, I haven't
Because you
even
haven't
submitted.
gotten the information
Yeah, I haven't
to
even
the state.
submitted.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm behind.
All right.
I'm not really behind 'cause it's not due till September 30th. I just always submit at the beginning of August, so
Yep.
I feel like I'm
All right.
behind, but
So,
play catch up.
free cash, okay, you know what free cash is?
I mean, I
Okay.
know the term, but
Yes, so,
So essentially, I go through a process with the Department of Revenue and I have to create a balance sheet for all of our funds, grants and everything. And between any expenditures that we haven't expended for the year from budget, so we get a budget, say 50 million, we've only spent 48. So that 2 million is excess in expenditures that we haven't spent because we budgeted for more than what we spent. So between that number, so they call it turnbacks, revenue, so if we budgeted, let's just say 50 million for revenues, but we really got in 52 million, I have a $2 million excess in revenue, so that also accounts for that. And then they back out any negative, any grant that we have deficit, so we've spent more than what we've gotten reimbursed for. So between all of that, we get a number that's certified by the Department of Revenue in high level terms. And then that number we use for free cash to spend usually for capital one-time purchases because it's not a guaranteed dollar amount. It's not guaranteed funds every year. So the number is different every year.
so the philosophy has always been, in May, when you pass the operating budget,
Yes.
you pass, that's tax money,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
When we pass a capital budget in October, it's 99.9% one-time deals.
that's what I
Yeah.
voted on plenty of times at
Yeah.
town meeting. I
Yeah,
just
so
wasn't sure how
we
it
always
worked.
use them for one time. We never use free cash to supplement our budget for anything because it's a bad habit to get into. So we usually always use them for some sort of a capital purchase.
Nice.
And then if at town meeting you've seen like raise and appropriate,
Yes.
that's usually like we found So when we set our budget in May, we're usually using figures of rough estimates from like March, April timeframe, and by the assessor sets all the property taxes or the property values for everybody for the year. She doesn't really get her numbers until like September, October. So we'll have what we call new growth, and it's sometimes more. It's been more than what you always want it to be, more than what you budget for, or at least what you've budgeted for. And we've always been on the path of being most conservative, because if in September you come back and you'd have to cut your budget at town meeting. So you ever see like raise and appropriate randomly in the falls, because we've had more new growth come in than what we originally planned for.
Nice.
And that's been happening a lot with Amazon, because new things have come up since they've come in the past couple of years.
Thank you.
There, now, we've been lucky, we've averaged maybe 1.3 a year over the last couple of years,
Yeah,
but there was a time when we'd have 300,000.
Oh, I remember when it was
Yeah.
super tight.
Right.
Absolutely.
With the housing market, do you think that's gonna continue?
So the way I've always been explained, so when your values are high, your tax rate's really low,
Mm.
and then when your values drop, your tax rate's just gonna go up. So just
Yeah.
so it won't
we're
really
good on-
affect, unless you want to really cut your budget and stuff. But when if you budget the same and your values were to drop, your tax rate's just going to go up higher. So that's why our rate is low, because our values are a little bit higher, and we don't spend to our fullest capacity. We're not taxed to the levy.
All right, so
So
let's
your
get your
rate's
other,
low.
because I thought your bad news was gonna be we only got 800,000.
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
All right, so what's the other bad news?
So I don't know if you guys have heard, the school is coming for a debt exclude or a ballot vote in September for capital. That's your second
Is
page
that
here.
these 2 pages?
Mm.
Yes. So it's a total of $11.1 million, and I'm just going around. The cost to the town of Charlton is $6.1 million. So they're coming for that, for a ballot vote in, I think, the end of September. So they'll have a district-wide ballot vote, and then if that passes, we have to decide how we're paying for it. If we go for, let's just say it passes and we go for a debt exclusion vote in May and that fails, we have to pay for this no matter what, because that ballot decides if they're doing it or not. So if that ballot vote passes, no matter what we do, we have to pay for it. If this is unlike where the town, whereas if it passes one and fails the other, we can just say, okay, we don't have the money, we're not gonna do it. The town is a separate entity. If that town meeting and that vote passes, it's gonna get assessed to us, we have to pay for it.
Mhm.
So they're coming to ask for the whole 11. Obviously, the 6.1 million will be for us. So I'm gonna assume you'll see it in their budget for next year, because I'm assuming they're gonna want to move on this and do some upgrades. And then not only that, but we were also told that Heritage School, I think, is getting entered into the MSBA program at the same time. So I don't know how far in the process they
Is that
are.
for the roof?
No, for a whole school.
Like the concrete.
It'd be an entire school. So whether they're going to renovate or demo and rebuild, but it's just that school, and that total cost will be 100% on us
Because the school is in charge.
in Charlton. So we'll still be an MSBA split. So the state will kick in a portion, and then we kick in a portion. It's usually, I think, like 60-40. I think they say. For Dudley, if it was a Dudley school, it'd be a little bit more. I think for us, because we're a wealthier community, it might be a little bit less. But I think it's usually around that target point. Obviously, some things in the school aren't MSBA eligible, or they're eligible at a lesser reimbursement rate than other things, even though they would tell you you need a full school. And that MSBA committee tells you whether you're going to rebuild or renovate. So it's similar to when they tried to do Shepherd Hill. So what will happen is it will get passed, and then they have to come to us for a feasibility study money that will come just directly from the town of Charlton, and then they do a feasibility study to decide whether it's a renovate or new school. But once you lock into that feasibility study money, you're locked in. You have to, I think, keep moving forward with the project, is the way I
So
understand it.
this alone is gonna add $120 to the tax rate.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, what's that? You have
Well,
an
if you think
estimate?
about it, that yeah, probably it'd probably be $100 and something bucks, because the other project. So the other one was 12 million. This is double that, or this is less than the 12 million was double. So yeah, probably half of the 250 ish.
Now, does Dudley have to approve this also?
So here's the caveat: it's a super. So they have to do a super town meeting, or
Right.
sorry, super ballot vote. So it's a majority of both towns. So if the town of if more town of Charlton residents say yes, then the town of it doesn't matter. It's a district. So it's not considered Dudley versus Charlton. It's a district.
Oh.
Yes.
Because they're notoriously, they vote things down.
Correct, so it doesn't matter, so if we pass it, they have, if more of, let's just say more of Charlton residents say yes, they're looking at it as a whole, so they would also have to, and theirs is what, 4.5 or almost 5 million, whatever, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're having I think they're still going for an override for this year, and I don't know if that has passed. Last I talked to their accountant, I know they were trying to do another one and that it hadn't passed yet, so they're going for a second.
You have to do 3 overrides.
Yeah, I think they do the whole like pick and choose bucket thing, because that seems to work better over there. So,
So this is September 29th?
yep, I believe so.
So if that school goes through, what is the ballpark for?
Oh, you're probably talking 200, 300 million, and then 40% of that, whatever that is.
A lot.
Yeah. I won't do the math off the top of my head. Yeah. On top of this 6 million, if this 6 million passes. Yeah.
How long did that program take to go through? and go through?
So I talked to Andrew the other day, and the school had given them a heads up that they're entered. I don't know if that means that they just submitted for it, or if it means something else. We've missed each other a lot in the past couple weeks, so I didn't get like a full rundown for him. On the other hand, I was told that the Board of Selectmen is meeting next Tuesday, and they're meeting with the school committee and the feasibility study committee. So I don't know if you guys also would like to come to that meeting and ask them questions then. But I guess the select board chair had asked for the school committee to come in, so I'm assuming it'll be like Mr. LaMarche, Mr. DeSantis, and then probably a couple members of the school committee. But they're coming on the 25th.
80 million.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Of August?
It'd be, they're coming next Tuesday.
Plus the 6,
Yeah. Somewhere around that ballpark. That's at 200 or 300.
200
Yeah. I'm just estimating. I don't know how much schools actually cost, but yeah.
So am I to understand that during the next town meeting, we are going to tell the taxpayers that we're looking for 11 million for this school?
So no. So
Okay.
because it goes to a, not to cut you off.
No, by all means.
Because it goes to a ballot vote, town meeting gets no say. It just goes right. So because it goes to a ballot vote for the district, it would then have to in turn go to a ballot vote for the town for just a debt exclusion. So the only say I guess town meeting gets is passing the budget.
So
It doesn't go in front of town meeting at all.
is the new senior center conversation and the school conversation going to happen within a couple months of each other?
Sounds like yes.
That's good.
That's why when she was like, "Oh, put it on," I'm like, "That's going to be a great ballot. You're gonna, if it does get passed." I'm under the impression that the select board wasn't on board with that. I don't know if their thought has changed. I know they weren't last time.
On board with,
Doing a senior center.
okay, now.
I don't know if they still feel the same. There's a new member on it, so I don't know if they feel the same. But I know when they had come a handful of months ago, it was a flat out no. They wouldn't even put it on a town meeting. And I think that they were even mad that we did the feasibility study money. But that passed, so I don't know if maybe they feel differently now. But if that does go, you would potentially have the school debt exclusion vote and a senior center debt exclusion vote on the May meeting and May election.
Now, the school debt exclusion would include.
Would just be the 6 million.
Would just be
Well,
the 6.
yeah, because the 11
This
million will get
project,
voted
right.
on. Right, the 11 million would get voted on as a
District-wide.
district-wide, and then the portion for just us would be 6 million. So we'd go for a debt exclusion for 6.
What does it look like?
And that number won't be on the ballot.
What does
because we
it
can't
look
put
like
numbers on
if
the
the debt exclusion doesn't pass?
Oh, you're gonna have to cut whatever that is. I'd have to do the math, but where's my? So let's just say it was a
You're saying
million.
this-
It was
this
a million for
passes,
12
but the
million
debt
debt.
exclusion doesn't, then this comes out of operating.
So it was $1,076,000 for debt service for about 14 million. So if you just cut that in half, even you're saying probably $600,000. You'd have to either cut that out of your budget, or we could potentially use our excess levy capacity to pay for it. However, it's still going to raise everybody's taxes because I'm now eating into excess levy capacity that we haven't taxed on. So either way, your taxes are probably going up, unless we're cutting $500,000 or $600,000 out of budget. Right, at least. I don't know if it's going to be more. Depends on how long they borrow for. But if I'm just going off of these numbers, it's about half.
It's a big hit.
And I don't know what projects they're doing. Like when this was a building, I can go out 20 years. If this isn't a building and this is just like upgrading, you can usually only borrow for however long the life of an asset is. So if you're working on, let's say, like fire panels or windows, like, I don't know if you can borrow for the same length of time.
Right.
And that wouldn't be up to us, it'd be up to the district because they're borrowing.
Okay. Oh, we just
So it all
paid
depends on how long they borrow for would be, obviously, how much
that.
debt
It comes
service it would
through
be.
as, in their budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd just be a capital assessment in their budget.
Okay, let's not let the school take up our time.
So that's that. That was my bad news.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at this little blue piece of paper that's in here, this was the capital plan. So if you ignore the top portion, because that's all stuff that we budgeted for, that's all the debt that we currently have for the fire substation, and then the landfill, and then the fire engine. Everything below that 1.6 million is all the capital requests that I have for this year. Oh, and I have
Since you're here, Rob.
I have the refurbished forestry one on here twice. That's actually a life pack. Forgot to fix that.
Which one?
The forestry's on there twice.
That's,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, the 61,000 is really a life pack for the EMS
Okay.
vehicle.
Alright.
I have this in too many places. Let me catch myself. Happens when I copy
The
and paste.
refurbished forestry.
Yeah, so the 61,000 part of it is a life pack. The 100,000 is really the refurbish. So I have like 1.5 million in requests for this year. Without having free cash, obviously, we can't vote, but.
DPW's buying a tired excavator?
So his,
Oh, it's a,
yeah, so his thought process on that was he was gonna ask this year for a roadside mower and next year was a Gradall, because they're both very old. So he came to me the other day and said, what would you think if I just got an excavator? It's obviously a little bit more than what the roadside is, but it's gonna be a heck of a lot less than what the Gradall would be, and we wouldn't need two machines, I would only need one. So instead of paying 200,000 for a roadside mower and 400,000 for a Gradall, it's 300,000 for an excavator.
and he doesn't need a grader?
And then he wouldn't need he would limp along the one they have, but the excavator would be able to do what the Gradall does. And then you can put a roadside mower attachment on it, so it'd also be able to do roadside mowing.
What is, parking lot repaving engineering?
So the police station it's always been on their capital request to redo the parking lot there.
Extend it?
Because they are very limited on parking there. The problem is he's surrounded by wetlands. So in order for us to do he had pushed it off at first because we were gonna do a combined public safety building.
Mhm.
So why fix the parking lot if we're gonna get a new building? Because we're not moving forward with that anymore. He's had this parking lot, but he keeps pushing it off. But they really need parking. Like if you drive by, there's quite a few of them. They're parked in like the side grass and stuff. Andrew and I thought we'd try to do some engineering to see if somebody could give us a plan of how much it would actually cost instead of us just throwing a number out there.
You remember
Can we
what the number
actually-
is? Sorry.
We have 500,000 on it, but I don't think.
It's more than that.
I think so.
Right. Can we actually extend it into the wetlands?
If you did, I think you have to replicate the wetlands somewhere.
A portion of it.
Yeah. So you can, as long as you replicate. So that's what an engineer would tell us, if it's even feasible over there. Because if it's not, he wants to just have his parking lot repaved. Because they've kind of limped it along, but in order to like keep it nice, it needs to be either repaved. But why repave it if he needs?
If you're
more
gonna do the
parking
whole
lot?
thing.
Yeah.
Is the police cruiser replacement, that number just rings a bell that that's 3
It's
units.
3. Yes.
It's always 3.
It's always
okay?
3.
But I thought we were looking at a lease.
We did lease some admin cars. He is hesitant to lease duty cars because they rack up miles an hour so fast that they're useless.
They get beat up. Yeah,
They're useless after 3 years.
Value at the end.
Yeah. Where the admin cars don't get as
You think
abused.
Those road vehicles get beat up.
Yeah. They're sitting with just the car running so the hours get racked up, and then Ford and Chevy, I think, have like a calculation they do between the number of hours and then the actual mileage on the car, and once it hits a certain threshold, you can't run it at high speed anymore, so you have to kind of take it off the front of the line, and make it a detail car or whatever, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's Bay Mountain Farm?
So that one's interesting. So, we, years and years ago, we just found this out. Not just found this out, but apparently found out that we were in violation. So we got into this agreement with the state years ago that we were gonna do commercial farming on this property, and the state gave us a grant, I guess, to like, I don't know if it was fix Bay Mountain or purchase or whatever it was, but they gave us a grant, and in turn we would have to file this APR every year to show them how much of the property we were farming. You know this?
I am, because when I was on EDC and planning board, we talked about it. It was when the whole thing came through.
Yeah.
And it was agreed, and it was right when things were starting to get a little funny between the town planner that was, and I think things just got lost in the weeds.
Yeah. So I don't know how we came across this, but apparently we purchased, and then Overlook gave us some money towards it, and the state gave us money. So whatever, we own this farm, but because the state gave us this grant, we have to at least commercially farm so much percentage of this land. And then we need to file this document that proves what we've been farming and what we've been doing. No one's ever filed this document to the state.
$210,000 to pay
So
for
wait.
a document.
It gets better. So because we've never done this, we have a farmer that runs the farm. He no longer would like to run the farm. So so conservation controls this. So conservation with the Fay Mountain Farm Committee wanted to do a RFP for a new farmer, but we couldn't do that because we didn't know what they really had to do. So our conservation director went to the state to say, hey, can you just tell me what are the criteria that we need to do? And she's like, oh, you know what? Come to think of it, you guys have never filed an APR ever in the existence of this farm. You're in violation. You now owe us $210,000 if you want to get out of this APR.
Yep.
Or you need to continue, and I don't even think that there was an option, or you need to continue farming because we've never filed, so we're just in complete violation of this APR that we've never done.
So this 210 buys this out of?
Yes, so we would never have to commercially farm that land anymore.
So basically what happened is the state initially, just to summarize real easily.
Yeah, because I'm like half in it.
Yeah, the state said, okay, we'll give you money to buy the farm, because at the time it was dying. And and I think it was Alan went to the state and said, okay, how can we get money to buy it? And they said, okay, well, we'll give you money to buy it. And Overlook was looking to donate money as well, because it was a write-off for them too, and said, but you have to prove to us what you're doing every single year in order to substantiate it. And so we said, okay, that's great, we'll do that, easy peasy. And then the management changed hands, if you will, of the town of Charlton, and it just wasn't done.
Right.
And it was commercially farmed because the people were great, but
Right.
then, again, we just didn't file the paperwork.
Right.
And I think one hand we thought the people that are doing it were going to file the paperwork. They just assumed that we were doing it since
Right.
they were just farming it for us, but never actually owned the property.
Right.
And so here we are.
And so when the state, I guess, went out there, the part that we're supposed to be commercially farming, all the trees in there are like years dead.
Oh yeah, they're dead.
They're like no reviving. Like clearly you haven't farmed on this part of the land, and it doesn't matter if you farmed on another part of the land because you said you were going to farm on these
That's
acres
true.
right here. The trees are all dead. So she's like, you can't even lie to me and tell me you were farming this because clearly you weren't.
And because the people that took it over knew that they didn't need to worry about that section, they never cultivated that section.
Correct.
Because the town was like, okay, well, we're going to take this little parcel, so don't you worry about it. We got it. And when nobody came to farm it, they're like, oh, whatever, and we'll farm our portion.
Right.
So if we buy out of the APR,
Yeah.
does that land just become
It's still
And-
ours,
Charlton land?
and we
for
can use it for
anything?
whatever purpose we want, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah, right?
Well, that's actually come up in the past.
Yeah.
A brand new
So
building?
this is like a placeholder. I don't know.
That's
Andrew's
gonna be more
trying.
than 14.
I don't want to say he's trying to get out of it, but he's trying to like stiff arm the state because like nowhere in any agreement that we have or that they can prove says that if we don't do this, you must pay X. So he's trying to be like,
Where does it?
yeah, like how can you prove that we owe this money? And it was like a fine from every year that we haven't farmed. It was like whatever, say like $1,000 for every year we haven't farmed in the net. It's not really 1,000, but there was a
Right.
fee for every year we haven't farmed, maybe times the number of acres. I don't know. There was some calculation, and that's how they got to this 210.
And if we buy this out, that all
I
goes
think so.
away.
Yeah.
And when the conversation first came up, there was talk that Charlton Orchards might do it a little bit. There was talk that volunteers would do it. There was talk that there's a group out of Worcester that farms as volunteers that allows people to have kind of portions that we thought, okay, well, we'll give it to them. And again, I think it was a lot of great intentions,
Right.
but no one ever actually took the helm and it all died on the vine.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Right.
What did we farm?
There,
Apples,
yeah,
pumpkins,
apples,
squash.
I think blueberries. It used to be a up and running farm.
Oh, very much
Like
so.
when I first started here,
Used to
conservation
go to the
director used to
Yes.
grab me and be like,
Yeah,
"Come on,
used
we're
to
going to
go
the
to
farm,
buy,
let's
like,
go." And they
bushels and
had
stuff.
like
Buy in.
cider and donuts,
Yep.
and they had all
Squash,
fresh made pies
pumpkins.
from their apples, and you can go
Did
there and
I
buy.
thought we did a couple years ago.
It was up and running up until last year.
Okay, so
Because
yeah.
there's a portion of the Mid-State Trail that hooks up by the
Yes.
Ryder Tavern that goes all around their property, and you can
Yeah.
see everything that they do, and it's actually really neat, but it was a very viable property
Right.
up until last year when they just weren't
Yeah.
interested, and for whatever reason.
Right. So that's just a placeholder for now. I don't know if it will end up in the mix, but we want to just throw it on there so it's
Yeah.
not a set it in the back of our minds, forget it thing. It's there.
So you've come up with 1.6,
Essentially, yeah.
request.
Yep.
but we don't know our free cash yet.
Correct.
I can't really.
All
Okay.
Yeah, you
right,
can't
and so
really do
now,
much with it.
what do we get down below? You're saying that
So that's just the tax levy with some of this debt. The borrowing was some of the debt. The 1.5 would come from free cash, and then 61,000 for the chief's life pack would probably come out of his receipts reserved for appropriation for ambulance. So the 798,000 of 892 are debt. So it's the top section there.
Yeah.
So the tax levy, so the 798,000 we absorbed under the tax levy. The 892,000 was debt excluded, part of the fire substation.
Yeah.
So that's the two debt pieces that we already have budgeted. The 1.5 would be coming from free cash, and then the 61,000 would probably be coming from receipts reserve for appropriation.
Mhm.
And then this also obviously doesn't include any stabilization or OPEB.
Yeah, well, that ain't happening.
Yeah. So,
We've kind of come to this unofficial rule that 10% goes into stabilization.
Good number.
Well, that's a good number, but how far are we from a 10% stabilization?
I would need to look. I
for
think
total
we're
budget?
still there. We might be a little bit behind, but I'll have to take a look. I
thought
haven't
we were
looked in a
like
while.
9
We might be a little bit behind now that we raised budget up, so I'll have to look.
Right.
I'll look before our next meeting
Okay.
at what we are. I have even looked at 27. I've been living in 26 land.
And OPEB we did in May.
We've been funding it twice
I know.
every year, but that would be it. We wouldn't have to do that if you'd rather do
Right.
capital stuff if we were
Right.
strapped for cash, yeah.
And if push comes to shove, no capital stabilization either.
Right, yeah, you could just fund one, and it doesn't matter if you fund one versus the other because it still goes to your 10% because it's still considered stabilization. The only one that doesn't apply would be water or sewer.
Yeah.
And then the only thing not on here, I've been talking with the Water and Sewer Commission because since our superintendent left in 2023, no one's put any money into their stabilization, and they're looking at probably putting in a new sewer plant. Yeah. However, sewer debt is sewer's responsibility, so it would be
Right.
those of the sewer user customers. But they're looking at maybe doing a new sewer plant, and that's probably upwards of another 14 to 15 million, I would assume. So I told them they need to start putting some money aside if that's what they would like to do, so their retained earnings that they get every year, instead of just sitting in limbo, is in the bank making money. So they meet the first week in September. So I'm hoping that somebody makes a motion to put some
Sorry
aside.
about that.
All good news.
Yeah. Nothing but good news today.
I was hoping for a sandwich approach, but it's not
Yeah,
happening.
no.
No.
Just give it to you flat out.
So, Chief, I have a question. What's the refurbish of the forestry one?
So, I had submitted this before. Our forestry is a 2012. It's got about, it's got low miles on it. It's only got like 52,000 miles on it. But at the beginning stages of its career, we didn't have a chase vehicle. And it was a dual purpose vehicle. It was running on all of our medicals, and it was like a general utility vehicle. It was used in the snow. Anytime we had a major snowstorm, it was our only four-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah.
So we would take it out in the snow, and it was just salt, and it was beat up pretty bad. So it was originally on the capital replacement plan now anyway for a full replacement of the vehicle, and we had looked into replacing it completely, and we're talking like $350,000, $400,000 for a forestry truck, and it was like kind of crazy that that's what it was going to cost us for a vehicle that really doesn't need that much work to it, and it can have a substantial longevity to it with only 50,000 miles on an F550 diesel motor, which the motor is fine on the truck. The only issue is it's the underside of it. It's just, we already had to replace the bumper, the front bumper completely rotted off the truck. It just literally just fell off the truck just from the salt. So we replaced that last year in-house. We bought the bumper online, shipped it, they put it on to the truck. We had somebody look at it already on the underside, and they said that the underside actually looks fairly well. It just needs to be sandblasted, painted, needs some electrical work, some pump work done to the back, just some corrosion to the pump. We want to change out the rear end. It's not really set up currently to go into the woods, because when they spec'd it out, they spec'd it intentionally to drive on the road because they knew it was going to be a dual purpose vehicle. Since then, we've purchased vehicles to act as our utility response vehicles. So this vehicle would go to the new station, and it would be a single purpose vehicle to be used as a forestry vehicle. So we would change out the rear end, put a single wheel on it, make some modification to it to truly be a brush truck. Last October, we had that rash of dry season. We were doing a lot of brush fires, and we did utilize this vehicle at several incidences, and it did not perform very well because it's got dually tires on the back, and it's just not intended to go off-road. So we did do some estimates on it, and we got some estimates around the $90,000 range and stuff like that. So we think the request was for $100,000, and we're pretty confident that that would give us at least 15 years of longevity of this truck. So
it
much
go out in
better.
the summer, wouldn't be out in the salt and snow
No,
again?
it would just be, a single-use vehicle. We wouldn't have to go out in the salt anymore. When I first got on the department 12 years ago, this was the vehicle that we were told to take when we had those really bad snowstorms, because it, you could lock the hubs, it had the winch on it, and if any vehicle got stuck, you would go out, you would, yank vehicles out of the snow bankings and stuff, because it was the only four-wheel drive vehicle that we had. Now we have a new vehicle coming in, should be here in October. We're gonna get a plow on it. That will be our primary response vehicle for the new station. We have the current Chevy pickup truck F350 for Power Station Road. There is a request for a duplicate vehicle for Power Station Road that's gonna mirror image the one that's going to the new station. That won't come until next year, but then that way both stations will have a true utility vehicle to act as our response vehicles, and then this forestry truck will just be a single-use vehicle, just as a forestry.
Okay.
All right, so if we're supposed to prioritize, let me just throw out as a supposition that we've got a total request of 1.6, basically. And we meet here in a couple of weeks, and Ashley says, okay, guys, we got 1.4 in free cash. What do we do? Is that how you want us to prioritize? Should we take out?
I would say I would just wait until, I'll just present you with the same capital plan, and then we can, just wait until
Okay.
September.
I didn't know whether you were looking
Yeah.
for
No,
something
just
from
more
out
to
of
present
here
it
that
to you
says-
guys.
All right, but now you've all got this in front of you, okay? Let's be ready at the next
So
meeting.
think about what you
Right.
would prioritize over.
Where do the department heads prioritize them?
Well, they're all gonna think that theirs are the more important things.
Yeah.
For the departments that have multiple requests, I've asked, with the exception of chief, where they've, what their, number one, if you can only get one thing, what's your number one?
Okay.
So those I know, so if we have those questions, we can go back once we know what free cash is.
Yeah, because it is kind of dependent on free cash.
Right.
I'd love to have you come in and say, okay, we got 2.2.
I would love to tell you we had $5 million in free cash, but that probably isn't gonna happen.
I mean, it would help a lot if we stiffed Fay Mountain.
Right? Yeah, so the other problem is they need to refurbish Fay Mountain because the barn's falling down, and so if we don't pay to get out of it, we're paying to fix the farm. So I don't even know if that's an option, but yeah,
Just as expensive.
it'd be way more expensive. I think even just the barn alone, you're probably talking $1 million.
Yeah, because the roof's caving in.
Yeah,
Is it?
Seems like a bargain.
yeah. That's kind of that's why the refurb of Fay Mountain isn't even on here.
Is
And why were we in the business of farming? Or
is the ability, if we pay it off,
Yeah,
basically sounds, can we then turn around and sell it to
I think so.
a developer? Or-
I think so. I don't know if there's a caveat
I
to
was
that.
just gonna say, you might wanna look into that, because I believe when we purchased it,
Yeah.
we bought it with the idea that we might, and again, I don't quote me on
Right,
this,
I have
but
no
I
idea either.
believe the idea was we give it back to the state if we, within a certain timeline, so
That
it might
might
have
sound
expired.
familiar, maybe, yeah.
But there might be a 10 or 20 year, basically free lease, if you will, where they'll give us the money to buy it, we buy it, and we do what we need to with it.
But I think
and-
that's what this 210 might be. Maybe we're buying out because they don't want it. That
That's
might be
right.
why we're having to pay a fee.
Oh.
I'm only like
Right.
half in this conversation.
That makes a little more sense.
I
Yeah.
think there's special language in here, but
Right.
again, it's been a while,
Yes.
so it might have been our 20 years are up, we pay our $275, we own it, we
Right.
sell it however we want.
Right.
Or there might be some fine little language that gives the state, that we have to sell it back to them
Right.
at a discounted whatever. I don't mean to misquote, I
No.
remember there was something funky about it when it was
Yeah.
all purchased.
That sounds. Andrew's told me like high level it, and that sounds right. But I'm getting confused. If we pay the 200, do we completely get it,
Right.
and then we own it, we can sell it, or is that 200 just to like? That part I don't know. I know Andrew knows, so we can talk about it at our next meeting.
Let me put it in.
And hopefully he has an update.
By the way, the other side of Dresser Hill is for sale. 1.3.
So.
Huh?
Chris doesn't have an offer.
No, thank God Chris is in Italy. All right, what else we need to?
So
go on-
we
on
have
the-
insurance discussion next.
Yes, I
Oh,
want to
So-
know where we're at.
save the
I-
best for last.
I know,
Thank you very much.
I mean, as far as I know,
Thanks
insurance
for
is
not falling
going
asleep
good.
on us.
Absolutely.
Good?
I
Okay.
haven't heard different, so. I did email Hampshire Group, because I don't know if you remember, so, I guess I'll have to update because Alicia's here. So, as of July 1st, we changed from purchasing our insurance from Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust to Mass Strategic Health Group. So what will happen for the next 18 months, we're responsible for claim runout for any medical claims that happen as of June 30th that the doctors haven't billed for. So I emailed the woman in the office at Hampshire County Monday, and she said that she's hoping that Blue Cross has their July claim data back in the next week or so she'll be able to tell me how much we owe. The nice thing is when we got into Hampshire County, we had to pay like a buy-in fee, so they have $250,000 of ours that they'll eat at until we have to pay. So they'll eat at that money, so I won't have to make a payment to them until that's gone. So I'm hoping it's not more than that, because that would be nice. So I'll find out more from them as where we stand for the month of July. As far as our new insurance, I haven't heard anyone complaining, knock on wood. Other than it's a shock because people are like, why am I getting this bill? Because now we have that deductible. We haven't had deductible since I started here, well before that. So that's the only like shock to people, even though everyone was told, but it's still, I think, shocking just to see the bill. But I mean, otherwise, I haven't heard any complaints, so it's going well. I know we had our first Mass Strategic like IAC meeting, our insurance meeting with them last month, and we have another one coming up, I think, Tuesday.
Mhm.
So we are part of a board still, we get to make votes. Hopefully we'll have an update as where we stand with Medicare for the January, January open enrollment, being like December or so. We should get an idea on that, of how much the increase is gonna be, if any, so.
I'm hearing most are coming in about 11-12%.
Yeah,
That seems to be,
yeah.
of all the people that I deal with, seems to be the number.
Yeah, so we'll see where we stand with that. We're not gonna have for sure numbers yet, but we'll have maybe like a ballpark idea. And then they'll probably get for sure numbers, I think usually September, October. And then open enrollment, I think, is like November or December, and then that their rates are effective for January 1, anyone on Medicare.
Mhm.
So,
Have
that's all I got.
Have you, as part of your update, okay, have you come up with a replacement for ClearGov, or
I just think we're just gonna use our spreadsheets. I
just
think
stay with that
it's-
cell?
Yeah. I don't see, I haven't been poached by anybody else for other software that's similar. I don't know if Andrew's looking at anything. We did look at personnel budgeting software. That's supposed to give us like comparables of towns, like where everyone is town-wise. We're supposed to pick like our top 10 comparable towns. We're supposed to be able to go into a dashboard and see, so we could use it for union bargaining, and then for non-contractuals, see if like somebody comes in and says, hey, I think I'm really underpaid. You can go and say, well, if you're writing the median of these 10 other towns, and you're not really underpaid, or yeah, you know what, these 10 other towns are paying a lot more than we are. Maybe we need to kind of look at this person. The software just isn't moving as fast as it was new software. It's not moving as fast as I think we wanted to. But we are trying to utilize that. They keep saying that they're going to have something up and running for us before the end of the year, so I can use it for budgeting. Would be nice. But that's, I think, as close as I got to any other software. So I don't mind the spreadsheets. I mean, obviously it does take a little bit longer, but they are nice detail-wise because you lost that in ClearGov. So it is nicer because now you can see all the detail of everything. So it is a little nicer, the spreadsheet, but I mean, it takes me maybe an extra half an hour, if that, which is fine.
Right, it's not an insurmountable problem.
No, it's, and I mean, I'd rather be, I think I like the spreadsheet better because I was still taking the stuff out of ClearGov and putting it into our spreadsheet. I could just, it was easier to move it over because it was already there, rather than me having to go between whatever 30 spreadsheets and like manually typing all the numbers in, but it's fine.
Okay. And then the last thing would be to pick an item. I'd like to go back to taking 10 or 15 minutes at each meeting to talk about something that we don't understand, okay? We've talked about excess levy capacity, we've talked about bonding things, okay? What is something we want to ask Ashley and Andrew to explain to us for our next meeting? Again, 10 minutes, maybe 15? Is there anything that anybody's, you know, we could say school budgets, but I mean, that's a meaning in and of itself, okay? Actually looking for something.
I feel like Jamie would almost be better than that, better at that than I would.
And by the way,
She's not on. Kristen's there, but
Christian, I'm sorry if I haven't been including you.
she's on mute.
Quite all right, I'm here.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to see us discuss?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Try by the end of the week to give me some ideas, and I'll get it to the two of you.
Okay.
And we'll get that for the next meeting.
So I do have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you have.
Excuse me. We're very informative. I mean, we may use Robert Rules of Orders for certain things, but speak up.
You had mentioned that you pull from like 10 or 12 spreadsheets and you then put it into another spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out here. My son just finished an internship where he created a dashboard that did that automatically for the credit union. And what it does is he used some AI, he used just some, and I can't tell you the first thing about the first thing, but I saw it and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And what he did is he pulled from all these public sources from all over to give us data for every bank and credit union in Massachusetts.
Okay.
There might be something to be said for allocating, and I'm throwing out a couple, like a $1,500 to have one of these AI people come in, because he's at WPI studying data science.
Yeah.
To create just that, and again, that number was silly, but to create that for you, because what he did is he took information that took our people a very long time to put all together into something. They click a button and it repopulates.
Yeah, because I know like when I worked one of my other jobs, we used to run, they called them macros. So you'd like put information into a spreadsheet, click a button, and it would run a macro, and it would literally pay all of our bills for us. It would enter them all into our accounting software. So without us having to manually go in and key bills, you just key them into a spreadsheet really fast. You hit a button, and it would output into our accounting software, so I'm sure there's something probably similar to that.
And even if there's not a budget for it, you could do a free internship through one of the colleges.
We
around
actually
here.
offer, we have a summer intern program that, so I'll pitch that to Andrew, that would be nice.
Yeah, if it could save you time, time's money.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. Yeah, I'll pitch that to Andrew.
And as I get further into AI myself, I see the benefits
Oh, it's
of
amazing.
Yeah,
what it can do.
Yeah.
it's
It really
crazy.
is.
Yeah.
I haven't even dabbled in it at all, but I use it to I'm not a word person, I'm a numbers person,
Sure.
so my words are basic at that. So I'll take it and I want to sound professional or fancy. I always put my emails into AI and I'm like, wow, man, that sounds really nice. It sounds so smart.
You know, I will say, and I'm going to bring it up for a couple of reasons. Everybody here knows I've been sitting with the Senior Center Feasibility Committee since I'm not a member of the committee, I don't vote on the committee, okay? But I do feed them information. And I said to ChatGPT,
Yeah,
show me a marketing program for a senior center to sell to a town for $11 million.
Yeah.
And it gave me a 5-page timeline outline of you got to do this by then, and you got to have this. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It
It's
just-
amazing. Yeah.
what it'll do. And I found that the entire thing is built on the first sentences you put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Okay. You can even say, and when you give me an answer, be funny. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden
Oh, yeah.
it'll start talking back to you and make jokes. Okay?
So I'm the president of the United Way of South Central, the board president, excuse me, and I needed a letter. So I think of myself as a pretty good wordsmith, so I concocted a letter, and my son came behind me and goes, just for kicks, why don't you throw it into ChatGPT? I'm like, what does it have that I don't? So I did, I copied and pasted it, like, fudge. And then it said, would you like to make this more empathetic? I'm like, yes, I would. Click.
yeah.
And I read this, and I mean, it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
nothing like my letter. I
Right.
loved it better. I used it.
Yeah.
And so, because it was just a call for donations, if you will.
Right.
So I wasn't trying to pretend I was, but it was just, I'm like, I like your letter, not you, like the
No,
ChatGPT
right.
letter, so much better
Than
than
my
I like
own.
mine.
Right.
Yes, and I got compliments on it, and
Yeah.
didn't have the heart to say
I know.
ChatGPT.
Everyone just assumes everything's AI these days, I think. I don't know.
I can see what
It's still your
make it-
words and just
Well, that's
making it better.
exactly what
Whatever.
I said.
It's adding seasoning to a dish. It's
Exactly.
fine.
I gotta edit it.
Right. It was your dish. You just added some seasonings to it now.
Right.
Made it your own.
Okay, what else we got here? 'Cause we're getting to be
the only-
8 o'clock.
The only
and-
other things I have is I hope I have free cash by the next meeting. If not, I might cry. And I know Andrew usually gives you a fire substation update. I think they're running a little behind, but hopefully still slated for October. But
Mhm.
I think originally they thought they'd be in there in September. I don't think so.
Are we hiring yet, or?
No, not until the building is built.
Right, because we don't want to incur those costs.
So the problem is once
Last minute.
once that building is built, he needs to take everyone from Power Station and put them in this building because Power Station Road needs to be, the apron needs to be redone and the
Yeah.
garage floors.
Right.
And he can't do that with the vehicles in there and the people in there because they respond from there. So all of those bodies need to go to the new station and there isn't enough room for both.
Right.
So he needs to wait until that's done before he hires more bodies so they can be in both stations. So he probably won't be in both stations until probably January, I would imagine. And the other problem is that Power Station Road project is also time sensitive to the weather. So
Oh,
if it
yeah.
gets real cold fast, like it did last year,
Yeah,
he in trouble.
yeah.
I'm gonna assume because concrete doesn't like cold.
No.
So, and I'm assuming that's all what it is for the apron stuff over there. So, the asphalt really doesn't even like cold. So it's all about timing. So let's just pray it doesn't get cold fast like it did last year. But that's, I
All
mean,
right, if there's
otherwise that's it.
no other, Christian, unless you got something, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a
I'm good,
second?
and
I
I
have a
will-
second. All those in favor
Yeah.
say yes?
Yes.
Opposed say no. It is a
Yeah.
vote. We are closed. Thank you very much. It is nice to have you as a member.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kristen.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Night.
All right,
Good
good
night,
night,
Kristen.
Christian.